So good afternoon, students. Today we are going to deal with our last section, that is traditional medicine, traditional system of medicines. We know in India there are different types of medicinal system are practicing. Ayurveda, Allopathy, Siddha, then Unani, folk, just like that. So many medicinal practices are going on in India. Okay. So among them there are two types. We can classify into two types: institutionalized and non-institutionalized. Institutionalized and non-institutionalized, which means the medicinal practices that carried out in a building, that is institutionalized. Other one is without any building. Hey, this hospital, Ayurvedic heritage rooms, that are comes in institutionalized. Okay, a well building is there. Non-institutionalized means the medicinal system which is carried in village area. Some home we will go for some type of treatment, or we seek the help of some tribes also. People who are living in the forest. Okay, that is institutionalized and non-institutionalized. So among them, three you have to study, that is Siddha, Ayurveda and folk. Siddha, Ayurveda, folk. Siddha, Ayurveda. Siddha system of medicine and Ayurveda system of medicine comes under institutionalized practice, whereas folk system of medicine comes under non-institutionalized. Okay. Then we can say institutionalized. Institutionalized practice, it contains some prescribed format textbook. Prescribed format textbook means all the necessary information regarding what is the disease, what are the symptoms, what are the precautions we want to take, what are the medicinal things that we want to take for those disease. All should be in a prescribed manner. That is, a written textbook or written format is there for practicing Siddha and Ayurveda. Okay, or broadly institutionalized, there is a prescribed textbook. Okay, but in case of non-institutionalized, that is folk medicine, there is no prescribed textbook. Just like the tribes which are living in the forest, they will simply say all the data regarding the disease, symptoms and what are the precautions we want to take simply by oral words, simply by mouth. They have no such data. Okay, you understand? That is institutionalized and non-institutionalized. So first one is Siddha. First one is Siddha. Siddha medicinal is well practiced in Tamil Nadu. Siddha is well practiced in Tamil Nadu. Based on 18 Siddhas, it is formatted. Based on 18 Siddhas. Based on 18 Siddhas, it is formatted. Okay. Then all the things regarding the medicinal system, they are written in the form of poems. They are written in the form of poems. Tamil poems. All the necessary data, they are written in the form of poems. Okay. And the Siddha system is working based on Panchabhuta. Based on Panchabhuta. Based on Panchabhuta. And three humors are there. Three humors are there. Vattam, Pittam, Kapam. Vattam, Pittam, Kabam are the three humors which comes in Siddha medicinal system. Okay. If any disturbance that causes the Siddha medicine, it will causes illness. It will causes illness. So we know in every medicinal practice we require what? Medicine to have. Only after having medicine our diseases will cure. Okay. Those medicines are derived from, or those drugs, we will call them as drugs. Those drugs are derived from plant parts as well as animal parts. Plant parts as well as animal parts, they are seeking help for obtaining the drugs. Mainly 800 herbs are used. Mainly 800 herbs are used for the production or formation of medicinal drugs. Okay. So that's all of Siddha. It is well practiced in Tamil Nadu. Okay. So mainly the prescribed text, it is in the form of poems and it is based on the Panchabhuta, and the humors are Vattam, Pittam, Kapam, and they speak plant parts as well as animal parts for obtaining the drugs. Mainly more than 800 herbs are used for the formation of drugs. That is Siddha. Then second one is Ayurveda. You are familiar with Ayurveda, is it? Ayurveda is the other institutionalized traditional system of medicine. Institutionalized. Institutionalized means it has a building. Okay. It is originated from Brahma. It is originated from Brahma. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, almost all South India, this Ayurvedic practice of medicine is going on. And in Siddha, we said the knowledge is documented in the form of poem. Okay. But in Ayurveda, the knowledge is documented in Charaka, Shushtra and Vagbada. Charaka, quite difficult. Charaka, Shushtra, Vagbada. So the knowledge is documented as Charaka, Shushtra and Vagbada. Then just like Siddha also, it has three humors. Okay. Humors are, this is Vattam, Pittam, Kabam. Siddha is Vattam, Pittam, Kabam. This is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Okay. Then Himalayan plants and animal parts are used for the production of drugs. Himalayan plants and animal parts are used for the production of drugs. And a book named Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia. Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia, which contains all the necessary details about the Ayurveda and the medicine which involved in Ayurvedic system of medicine. More than 500 plants are used for the formation or production of drugs. More than 500 plants. In Siddha, 800 herbs are used. But in Ayurveda, more than 500 plants are used for the synthesis of drugs. Okay. Then finally, third one is folk. Folk system of practice. Folk. Folk is a non-institutionalized. There is no building. Only The practice is through oral. Only the practice is through oral. There is no institution. Okay. Actually, several tribal communities, they are providing valuable information regarding the uses of certain types of plants which is present in the forest. Actually, we don't know about these plants and the uses, okay, but certain tribal community means people which are living inside the forest, okay, they know well about the plants and their uses. Why? Because their ancestral generation, they are keep passing the information from generation to generation. So they are giving us the information. Okay, so normally many people are depending on the tribe communities for some severe diseases. So, but we cannot say it is a authentic manner. Why? Because there is no prescribed data. So we cannot believe that it is a authentic medicine. Okay, but government that take as a serious issue and they take several projects. They are carrying several projects, government projects regarding the upliftment of this type of communities and this type of practices. Okay. In Tamil Nadu, this type of tribal communities are there. This type of tribal communities are there that are called Irulas. Tribal communities which is present in Tamil Nadu, they have the knowledge about folk medicines. They have the knowledge about medicines and they are practicing still. Okay, such peoples are called Irulas. Malayalis, Irulas, Malayalis, Kurumbas, Palliyans, finally Kanis. Okay. Irulas, Malayalis, Kurumbas, Palliyans and Kanis are the tribal communities which is found in Tamil Nadu and they are performing the folk mode of medicinal system. You understand? 3 types are there. Okay, so traditional medicine system are of 2 types, institutionalized and non-institutionalized. Institutionalized means there may be a building, there may be a area for the practice of this medicine. That is, Siddha and Ayurveda comes under institutionalized and folk comes under non-institutionalized. In institutionalized, there is a prescribed text format is there. There may be a prescribed text format or a book is there. So both Siddha and Ayurveda comes under institutionalized and both having a prescribed data. Okay. Then Siddha containing 8 Siddha and the knowledge is written in the form of poem and it is based on Panchabhuta. 3 humors are there, Vattam, Pittam, Kapam. And more than 800 herbs are used for the production of drugs. Then in Ayurveda it is based on Brahma and the knowledge is documented in the form of or in the name of books Charaka, Shrushta and Vagbhada. And the 3 humors are Vada, Pitta and Kapha. Okay, and the book named Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia is containing almost all the details about the Ayurveda plants and which it is used. Then more than 500 plants are used for the Ayurveda medicine. Mainly the plants are in Himalayan origin. Okay, then finally folk. Folk is a non-institutionalized and it is oral. The practice of medicine is oral. There is no prescribed book is there. Irulas, Malayalis, Kurumba, Palliyans and Kanis are the tribal communities which is present in Tamil Nadu forest and they are still practicing the folk mode of medicine system. So that's about traditional system of medicine. Next topic is medicinal plants. India is really rich in medicinal plants. Is it? So only you have to study 2. Only you want to study only 2. First one is Keeranelli and second one is Nilavembu. Keeranelli Nilavembu. Keeranelli is Phyllanthus amarus. Phyllanthus amarus. Phyllanthus amarus. Keeranelli. Okay. The active principle which is present in the Keeranelli or Phyllanthus amarus is phyllanthine. The active principle which is present in it is phyllanthine. Okay, phyllanthine. It can be used against hepatitis B virus. Hepatitis B virus. Name of a virus is hepatitis B virus. It can be used. Also, it is used to treat against jaundice. Treatment against jaundice. Okay. So, Keeranelli, this Phyllanthus amarus, the active principle which is present in it is phyllanthine, and it can be treated against hepatitis B virus, and also it can treat against jaundice. Then second one is Nilavembu, Andrographis paniculata. The active principle which is present in the Nilavembu or Andrographis paniculata is andrographolols. Andrographolols. Okay. It is a potent hepatoprotective. Means it can also be used as hepatitis virus. Okay. It can also used as hepatitis virus. And also it is widely used to treat liver diseases. Liver disease and also against malaria and dengue. Malaria and dengue. So, Andrographis paniculata, Nilavembu, the active principle which is present in it is andrographoloids. It can treat against liver diseases and also Andrographis plus other 8 type of herbs. Together they prepare a extract, and this extract can be used against the disease malaria and dengue. You understand what are medicinal plants? Okay, only you have to study these 2 medicinal plants. Then next section is psychoactive drugs. Psychoactive drugs means the plants which make us a hallucination feel. When we consume certain plants or the chemical which is obtained from the plant, it makes us a hallucinating feel. Okay, you understand what is hallucinating feel? You know about Kanja? Okay, that is called psychoactive. How you know about this, Kameshwar? Okay, so enough. So only you have to study 2 plants, that is opium and only you have to study 2 types, opium and marijuana. Opium and marijuana. Okay, first one is opium, Tattara somniferum. Why you are so much excited by hearing this? What, Praveen?
Did you continue the question?
Papaver somniferum. Okay. Papaver somniferum. Actually, this type of plants, they are producing hallucination feel in us, that is humans. Okay, if we consume it regularly, it may cause us addiction. Okay, so if it causes addiction, we can't live without this drug. So that it is illegal to cultivate. But in India, 3 states it gets permission to cultivate. 3 states are Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan are the 3 states which get the permission to cultivate this opium poppy. Okay, actually the fruit of opium poppy. The fruit of opium poppy, the extract of the fruit, it gives a chemical called morphine. The extract of the fruit, that is opium poppy, it gives a chemical called morphine. Okay. In ancient time, what we are used this opium poppy. In ancient time means old time. They don't know about this hallucinating feel, or they don't know how to misuse it. They know only to use it. Okay. So what they use is they use to induce sleep. If there is no sleep for us, we will have this opium poppy fruit so that we can easily get sleep. Okay, and also it is a pain reliever, and also induce sleep. And also, due to the presence of morphine, it can induce sleep and it can use as a pain reliever. In operation theatre, this opium poppy or the extract which is obtained from this opium poppy, that is morphine, it is used as a analgesic. You know analgesic? Analgesic. Yes. Okay, anesthetic. That is during operation time we are taking anesthesia so that we are not feeling any pain. Okay, that's about. But if you continually consuming it, it will cause addiction. Then next one is marijuana or cannabis. Cannabis sativa. It is also a hallucinating drug and it is also illegal to cultivate. Okay, so the states like Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Uttarakhand, it get the permission to cultivate. Why? Because this plant, it will give some chemicals that can be used in some hospital purpose, some pain reliever and some other medicinal values, only medicinal values. Okay. The active principle which is present in it is trans-tetrahydrocannabidiol. Trans-tetrahydrocannabidiol. THC. Due to the presence of this THC, it is acts as a hallucinating agent. Okay, it is also used as a pain reliever and also it reduces BP. Pain reliever, also it reduces hypertension or BP. Also it reduces hypertension or BP. You know what is glaucoma? This THC, it reduces the glaucoma. Glaucoma means pressure which is happen in our eyes. Pressure which happens in our eyes, that is called glaucoma. And also it can be reduce nausea in cancer patients. After chemotherapy, nausea may happen in patients. Okay, it can be reduced by using THC. What happened, Mukesh? Then THC also can be used against asthma and other bronchial diseases. Due to this so much usages, so much medicinal value, we are give permission to cultivate this drug, marijuana. Okay, so if we are prolonged use this type of drug, it will cause us addiction. So we cannot live without them. That's about psychoactive drugs. Then next topic is entrepreneurial botany. Entrepreneurial botany. Entrepreneurial botany means
What?
Entrepreneurial botany means we are starting a business. We are going to start a business with the help of plant resources. With the help of plant resources, we are going to start a business. Okay, that is entrepreneurial botany. Business with plant resources. I know you doesn't understand what is entrepreneurial botany. I will give you some example. Then also you can understand. Okay. Some people they cultivated some aromatic plants, some decorative plants, and they sell it. And some people they cultivate mushrooms and they sell it. Okay. Some people they prepare terrarium. Terrarium means you take some glass bowl, that aquarium, you know, glass aquarium, bowl aquarium, just like that, a glass. You just fill some soil and then place some cactus like plants, xerophyte plants, then add some small colored stones, something like that. So it will look like a scenery, and then you can sell it. Decorative, but with the help of living plants. Okay, then prepare bonsai. You know what is bonsai? Bonsai means large plants we are cultivating in a pot. Large tree like ficus, banyan tree, we are cultivating in a pot. The miniature form of large trees. That is bonsai. Okay, so we are starting a business, or we are creating a business with the help of botany or with the help of plant resources. That is entrepreneurial botany. You understand what is entrepreneur? So examples are mushroom cultivation, single cell protein, SCP production, then bonsai, terrarium, and cultivation of aromatic and medicinal plants. And finally, organic farming also. Organic farming, you know what is organic farming? Organic farming means we are cultivating vegetables or other type of crop without using chemical pesticides, only using some biological materials. We are cultivating crops. Okay, so bioproducts, you heard about bioproducts, bio-vegetables. So without the use of chemical pesticide, we are cultivating crops. That is organic farming. Then next topic is organic farming. Last topic is organic farming. Last topic is organic farming. So organic farming means cultivation of crops without the usage of chemical fertilizers. Only biological fertilizers are used. Biological fertilizers are used. So it is cost effective. It is cost effective. Why? Because we are using all the biological things which we can get from our home itself. We are not seeking help of any chemical pesticide. So we need not to pay that much. Okay, we can take some vegetables or whatever the things that is that can be obtained from our nearby areas. Okay, that is cost effective and also it is renewable resources. We know several microorganisms are associated with plants. Several microorganisms are associated with plants. Rhizobium. Okay, so such mode of association also we are taking help for the production of some organic fertilizers. So, two types, organic pesticide and biopest repellent. Two biofertilizers are organic pesticide second one, biopest repellent. How you can prepare a biofertilizer or biopesticide or biopest repellent in your own home? First one is preparation of organic pesticide in your own home. Preparation of organic pesticide in your own home. Okay, for that you have to take 120 gram of chili and 110 gram of garlic. You have to study 110 gram of chilies and 110 gram of garlic. Yes. Take these two things and grind it to make a thick paste using a electric grinder. Okay, made into a mixie. Okay, into a thick paste. Okay, after that you have to dilute it in 500 ml warm water. 500 ml warm water and just stir it. Stir means mixing. Stir it. Okay, then pour into a glass container. Pour into a glass container and close it using a tight lid. Tight lid. Then keep it undisturbed for 24 to 48 hours. Keep it undisturbed for 24 to 48 hours. If possible, just place it in the sunny area or in the warm place. After 48 hours, take it and strain it. Strain means filter it. So you can get the water and the waste of vegetables. Okay, the waste of vegetable you can use for next. Again you can use it or you can use for composite pit. Then the filtrate which we obtained from this, just pour into a spray bottle. Pour into a spray bottle and spray it to the plants. You can use 3 to 4 days. In between 3 to 4 days, 2 to 3 treatments you can do. This is how you can prepare organic pesticide in your own home. Easy. This is a 5-mark question. Result. The plant will be in a good condition. It will not affect with any insect, any disease. Next one is biopest repellent. Biopest repellent. Pest, you know what are pests? Insect. Pest means organisms which are coming to attack the host plants. That are pests. Okay, so we are using biological resources to repel the pest from the plants or whatever the host organism. Okay, so you know neem tree, neem. Take the neem leaves. Take the neem leaves and chop into small pieces. Chop means cut into small pieces. Okay, then put the leaves in 50-liter water. 50-liter water. And just mix it and keep it for 3 days. 3 days. After 3 days, with the help of a filter, mesh cloth or filter, just strain it. Just strain it and you can spray to the plants. Okay. Or before spraying, you can add 100 ml of oil and 100 ml of soap water.
Any oil?
Any oil. 100 ml of oil and 100 ml of soap water. Okay. So, before spraying, you have to be sure that the pests are in the leaves. The pests are in the leaves. Okay. So, if you spray this, it contains neem, oil, soap water. Okay. Soap water is adding to separate the oil. Oil, you know, it is in unsaturated condition. So, if you add soap water, it will be separate. The oil will be separate. Why we are using oil is, while spraying this, the oil will stick the pest within the leaf itself. It will stick the pest in the leaf. Okay. Then spray, after that it will die. The leaf which containing the pest, after spraying, you can use it for composite pit, or you can place those leaves on the base of the tree as a fertilizer, biofertilizer. These are about biopest repellent. So these are about our last chapter. So we are completing our last chapter, that is first 20% we completed. 2 chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 10. Only chapter 2 is somewhat difficult, chapter 10 is easy. I give Alishant a copy. It's okay. Copy. It containing what are the 5 mark and 3 mark, possible 5 mark and 3 mark, which can be asked from each chapter 2 as well as chapter 10. You have to keep with you and you have to mark the question. What are the questions you study? You should be mark. Make it tick. Okay. So that it will help to study. So a quick recap.
Yes, ma'am.
First question. Give an example for non-institutionalized medicinal system. Give an example for non-institutionalized medicinal system. Non-institutionalized medicinal system. Non-institutionalized medicinal system. Okay. Next question is the active principle which is present in the plant Phyllanthus amarus. The active principle which is present in the plant Phyllanthus amarus. Third question. The active principle which is present in Opium poppy. The active principle which is present in Opium poppy. Opium poppy. Okay. Fourth question. Give an example for entrepreneurial botany. Give an example for entrepreneurial botany. Give an example for entrepreneurial botany. Name the leaf of plant which is used for the production of biopest repellent. Name the leaves of plant. Which plant leaves we are used for the production of biopest? Okay. First one answer, fork. First one, fork. Second one, phyllanthine. Second one, phyllanthine. Third one, morphine. Third one, morphine. Fourth one, either mushroom cultivation, bonsai, terrarium, single cell protein, whatever it is. Then finally, neem leaves. Finally, neem leaves. Okay, so that's all about today. Thank you.